Good morning. It's Tuesday. I may or may not have cable and internet today. We'll just see. What I've been having to do without having the internet is actually go to my car because the Wi-Fi hotspot is right at the pole, which is right by where we park our car. And sometimes you can get it in the house, sometimes you can't. But when I'm uploading the videos like I do for the daily Bible reading, I have to go out to the car to upload. And then, of course, if you've ever used a Wi-Fi hotspot, you know after a little while, they just shut you out. They just turn you off. So you got to go back and log back in, and it's a mess. Let me put it this way. But today they're supposedly coming out between noon and 12. They did find out the attic that it goes to, and I kept telling them it's in that last apartment. And they're like, well, that one has the basement with the laundromat portion. It won't have the attic too. I said, yeah, it will. That used to be the apartment manager's dwelling place. That's why it'll have it, because they would have access to all of that. So after about a week and a half of looking, it was in that last apartment, like I said it was. So they finally made the appointment, and it's for today between noon and 2 to come out and change out the wires. They're inside the wall. Apparently, when we first moved in, we had issues with the cable signal not coming in well, and this was back in 2004. And they told us then that they needed to change those wires out, but they had contacted the landlord and she wouldn't give them permission to do it. So now, 16 years later, with the internet, it needs to be digital. And those wires that are in the wall are analog. So therein lies the issue. That's why we're not getting our internet. It's because it's analog and they think it's, just frying up the line or whatever. And I told them I think it's chipmunks that chewed through it. So I don't know. We do have chipmunks that go in and out, and every once in a while you can hear them upstairs, like having some kind of chipmunk races or something. But we've told the landlord. She doesn't care, So that's what's happening. So if you're seeing this, it's probably because I went out to the car to upload. Hey. And if you were watching on some of the daily Bible readings, you would have noticed that in my old chair, off to this side here, was this big stack of papers, like this. Apparently, I'm one of those kind of people. When I see a pattern I think I might want to make, I print it out. And that's what that stack is. And I have 2 more stacks in front of me to go through. I am putting some of them in notebooks. Some of them I'm setting aside, taking them to Prayer Shawl so that I can put them in the files there for patterns. And some of them I'm tossing because I've already done them. Don't care for them. I kept telling myself I need to learn to use digital format for that. But I kind of like having a hard copy. And I don't like having to carry my iPad. I don't like using my phone for the patterns because it's just too small. And I don't like carrying my iPad because it's heavy. Well, it's not that heavy, but you know what I mean. It adds weight to the bag when you've got yarn and stuff. So I'm going to have to learn a new method and quit printing out patterns when I see them that I think I want to do. And as you know, a lot of the yarn that is over here to my left is already bagged up with projects ready that I want to do and work on. That's not including the whips. I haven't even gone back to the whips. It's shameful. I tell you, it's shameful. But I decided I've started a new system. I have been putting into a notebook the patterns that I was going through that I was like, oh yeah, I really want to do that. Put them in that notebook so that I'm ready and I can just pull a project from the notebook, do it, then move that pattern over to the prayer shawl unless it's something I want to repeat. So, yeah. And you will notice we also got a new chair. I will tell you about that. My husband last week was moaning and groaning, and I asked him what was wrong. He said, my back is hurting. I can't get comfortable with my chair. It's catawampus, and I need to get a new chair. Now, he has had 3 recliners in the 16 years we have been here. My green recliner is the one that I've had the entire 16 years. And I kept telling him mine was bad too. But you know, he looked at it and he said, oh, it looks fine. So of course he got recliners. And, you know, I didn't push it any further because I don't care. You know, it's a chair, I can sit in it. Well, when he was sitting over in his chair and found out what the problem was with his chair, he decided to come over here and sit in my chair for a minute. I don't know what he was doing. I think he was trying to connect the internet to the Wi-Fi or something to where it would stay on, to where when I plugged in, it automatically went to it. And he was sitting in my chair. He got up. He said, when I came home, he said to me, we're getting new chairs. We're both getting new chairs. He said, I sat in your chair for a little bit. How are you sitting in that thing? It's awful. I said, well, I've been telling you that for years. So, I have a new chair. And this one is a swivel rocker and also a recliner. It is leather. I wasn't too happy about the leather, but it didn't come any other way. And I was trying all the different recliners that they have, but there's a problem for me when I sit down in a recliner. First of all, I am short. So if I put my butt all the way to the back, my legs don't touch the floor. And it's not comfortable. But the one thing I noticed with all the recliners lately is they already recline to a certain point. You know, I'm one of those, I like one that sits up straight so that I can decide when, you know, when I want to, I don't want to be slouching, you know, in the chair when I'm sitting in it. They had nothing that sat up straight. And I said to her, do you have any, you know, like the old wingback chairs? Because I would have gotten a wingback chair because I used to love sitting in my one wingback chair. No. They were awful. I'm telling you, awful. And the one chair that I did like, that I sat in, was a lift chair. And I told her, I said, I'm not ready for a lift chair. I said, I don't want that. It's too heavy. I didn't know. You know, I can't move it to clean. No. And she said, it is a lift chair. I said, yeah, I know, but no, I'm not ready for a lift chair. I said, when I'm ready for a lift chair, we'll buy a lift chair. She said, well, you know, they're guaranteed for a lifetime. I said, no. Just not doing a lift chair yet. So anyway, this one I sat in, it's more like a gamer's chair. It's very comfortable. And like I said, it swivels, it rocks. It has a handbrake on it so you can stop the rocking. Come on, that's amazing. You actually just pull the brake up and it stops in that position. Kid you not. And of course it has the recliner feature, so I'm good with it. That's the story of the chairs and the patterns and the papers. I hope the rest of you aren't like that. 'Cause I'm telling you, it's awful. It's like a hoarder's nightmare going through all these papers. I'm telling you, it is. I have only one finished item, and this is just a hat that I made up as I was going along. And for some reason this week I'm really liking the camel stitch. So basically this hat is double crochets. I did a single crochet here when I got ready to start the, downward portion in the back loop only. And I think I did another a row of double crochets. And then I just did 3 rows of the half double camel crochet. And then a couple of double rows, and then went back and did a couple more rows of the half double crochet camel stitch. And then just ended it with a double crochet around the bottom. That's it. That's the only finished item. What can I say? I am still working on this Afghan, with the homespun. I am on the last skein. I have this much left. It can't go soon enough. I'm so tired of that. I'm really tired of the half double crochet. I mean the homespun. I never get tired of the half double crochet. It's one of my favorite stitches. I don't know what it is about it. I just like it. That's it for this portion. I have a little bit more stuff to do in this house. I got another couple of piles to go through. And now we're going to do a little WIT and tarnation. I was hooked up long enough to do some search for some stories. Now this next story, very first story, I find rather humorous. It's just funny. School asks parents to stop throwing late students over closed gate. An elementary school in France put up a pair of posters outside their fence with an unusual request for parents. Don't throw late students over the closed gate. The Trilliad School in Avignon put up signs outside its gate showing a cartoon of a parent sending a small child airborne to get over the fence. The text on the sign asked parents not to throw their children and instead wait for the gates to be opened again at 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. Principal Sana Mazian told La Provence that parents literally threw their children over the gate when they arrived to find it closed. Mazian said there were only a few scattered incidents and no reported injuries, but there were enough tossed children to inspire school officials to take action and post warnings as a reminder. I'm sorry. I just see you. Okay. Oh, that one brought tears to my eyes. Robot wolves protecting Japanese town from bears. And of course, there's video or pictures of all of these stories in the links down below. A Japanese town is protecting itself from wandering bears with a pair of unusual guardians, motion detecting robot wolves. Sorry about that. Sneezes. Officials in Takikawa on the island of Hokkaido said concern about increased bear incursions into residential neighborhoods this year led to their purchasing 2 monster wolves, robotic guard canines created by machinery firm Otasaiki in partnership with the local university. The monster wolves, which are made of metal and covered in fake fur to make them appear real to other animals, are outfitted with motion detectors that cause them to activate. The wolves then flash red lights in their eyes, move their heads back and forth, and emit a series of howling and screeching noises. And it's terrifying. We want to let the bears know human settlements aren't where you live, and help with the coexistence of bear and animals, bears and people. Yuji Oda, head of Oda Seki, I know I'm butchering that, told Japanese newspaper The Manichi. City officials said the wolves have thus far been effective in preventing bears from entering the town. Wolves once lived in the wild in Japan, but went extinct in the country during the early 20th century. And I didn't know that. Another Japanese story. U.S. election brings internet fame to Japanese Mayor Jo Baiden. The mayor of a Japanese town said that he was initially confused as to why his name was trending on social media after the U.S. presidential election, until family members pointed out the characters in his name also spell out Jo Baiden, but it's spelled differently. Mayor Yukata Umeda of Yamato, Kumamoto Prefecture, said the Chinese kanji characters that spell out his name can also be pronounced as Jo Baiden, a name strikingly similar to that of President-elect Joe Biden. Although there are differences in the positions of a U.S. presidential candidate and the mayor of Yamato here in the center of Kyushu, our passion is the same. We continue working to fulfill our duty to ensure the happiness and spiritual richness of our residents. Umeda was quoted as saying by Japanese newspaper The Manichi. Umeda said he was considering ways of using his newfound internet fame to bring extra attention to Yamato, a town of 14,418 people. I would like to think of ways to promote the town, he told Kyoto News. And I do know how to pronounce Kyoto. My grandson is named after that town, Kyoto. Massachusetts man plants Christmas trees in potholes. I bet that's interesting, trying to dodge those trees. A Massachusetts man, fed up with local potholes, decided to take matters into his own hands by planting tiny Christmas trees in the holes on a busy road. Kevin Martin said his plan began Saturday night when he was on his way to pick up dinner in North Attleboro when he hit a series of potholes on Route 1 and ended up with all 4 of his tires flattened. Those are some serious potholes. Martin said he had previously complained to the town and state governments about the potholes, but no action was taken. I needed to make sure that it got fixed one way or another. I know that I'm not the only person who's gotten flat tires from that area, he told WJR-TV. Martin said he went to Home Depot, bought some planting soil, and some small Christmas trees. He planted the trees in the potholes on his way to work Monday morning. Looks like someone is getting into the Christmas spirit early. Guess that is one way to fill potholes. The North Attleboro Police Department Road In a since-deleted Facebook post, Martin said he wanted to force officials into taking action to fill the potholes. His gambit appears to have worked, as the trees were removed and the potholes filled Monday afternoon. But there are, I think it's video and some pictures. Rhode Island resort offering experiences in hobbit houses. A Rhode Island property is offering Lord of the Rings fans the opportunity to live out their Middle-earth fantasies in rental hobbit homes. The Preserve at Boulder Hills Club and Residences, a sports club with luxury residential housing in Richmond, said the hobbit houses have been under construction for 36 months, and 2 of the structures are now complete and ready to be rented for events. The houses are based on those used by the hobbits in the Lord of the Rings books by J.R.R. Tolkien. We will have 5 hobbit homes, Paul Mahalites, chairman of the Preserve at Boulder Hills, told WJR-TV. 3 are under construction, 2 are completed. They are always themed. Right now, the themed hobbit house is the pumpkin patch, which will also be decorated for Thanksgiving and then Christmas, and we will actually do it in spring too, with tulips. Daniel Hostetler, the president of Ocean House Management Club, which is responsible for resort operations for the Preserve, said the houses can be rented for groups of up to 8 people to hold parties, dinners, and other events. I think with COVID, this is going to be a huge hit. Absolutely, Hostetler said. This is an opportunity to dine with a group of friends or your family in a private atmosphere with your own server taking care of you. That'd be a great Thanksgiving dinner. The rentals start at $660 and get more expensive as the number of guests grows. Imagine that. We had our first guest on Halloween, and what better place than to celebrate Halloween, Hostetler said. We wanted something that you would remember for a lifetime, and that's what we're doing here. Sheep found wandering loose through Virginia City. Cinnamon Stitches. Claim that sheep. You can shear it and have your own wool. Animal control officers in Virginia's capital city captured a sheep found wandering loose through a neighborhood, and the animal's origins remain a mystery. Richmond Animal Care and Control said officers responded to the Hay Road area this week when a resident reported there was a sheep wandering loose. Our officers received a call on the phone that there was a sheep, and we were like, yeah, right. And then we got there, and there really was a sheep. Animal Care Director Christy Chips Peters told WRIC-TV. We have never had a sheep at our shelter, and I don't know why this year seems to trend to the barnyard animals. It's because they're loose. Chips Peters said the sheep seems very used to human contact. When the sheep walked in today to the shelter, we all needed a bit of a smile, and he delivered that in capacity. Chips Peters said he lets everyone pet him. He lays his head on your lap and against your leg when you pet him, so he knows what love means. The sheep is being housed at the Richmond Police Department Mounted Units barn. Animal Care and Control said the sheep will remain on hold for 6 days while authorities wait to see if someone claims the animal. If it remains unclaimed, it will become available for adoption. Now, I've been around sheep, but it's kind of highly unusual that they'll lay your head in your lap and let you pet them. So, apparently this one was brought up, probably bottle fed, young. So it was probably brought up by humans. So someone's missing their pet sheep. That's it for today, guys. Hopefully next week we'll bring more finished items as I have more time to sit down and do something besides go through stacks of papers. Don't be like me, folks. Don't print off every pattern you see. Apparently I was doing that for a while. All right, I'll see you guys again next week. Everybody have a great week. And remember to choose kindness. After all, kindness is the greatest gift you can give to another human being or animal.